Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Crimson and in this video we are going to be looking through the Art of Halo 3 art book. So this is going to be the first video in kind of a small little series I'm going to be doing. I have all of the art books for all of the Halo games. So I have the Halo 3 one, the Halo 4, the Halo 5, and Halo Infinite. So we are going to start with the art of Halo 3, just because, one, it's the smallest book, and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to upload these in chronological order, but I just thought we'd start with this anyway. So I won't spend too much time on the intro, however, just one quick thing before we start. I apologize if my hands look a bit dirty. Prior to filming, I had been spending the last 2 or 3 hours painting Warhammer 40k miniatures. So there's still a tiny little bit of paint on my hands, and there's a little bit of a paint smudge there. So despite what it looks like, that is not in fact blood. That is just some dark maroon paint. So yeah, let us get started. And as in prior videos, I am only going to be covering the text pertaining to the actual in-game lore. I'm not going to be reading stuff about developer notes or anything to do with game development. So we are only going to be covering stuff about, the models, the lore, and stuff like that. So let us begin. Also, this book was insanely difficult to find. I actually did not even know this book existed until I started really doing in-depth research for art books to buy for the channel. So, but I am so glad that I found this book because I absolutely love Halo 3. So, the Art of Halo 3. And as I've mentioned before, while Bloodborne is my favorite game, Halo is my favorite game series, just because I grew up playing these games, so I have very fond memories of all of them. So here is our table of contents. So, with friends like these, the Master Chief in Battle Damage Mjolnir series armor became an icon for the Halo franchise and the frontman of the brand of monks playing the Halo theme. But Halo has never just been about the Chief. There was a diverse cast of characters with various armor schemes, heights, weapon loadouts, and armor arrangements, all purposely designed to let the player know what they are about to jump into feet first. So here we have the Chief holding a turret in in both hands, and an ODST beside him. So this looks like a bit of concept art of Chief exiting the Pelican on the mission The Ark, because at the start of that mission, Chief is dropped in to a location on the Ark and is escorted by 4 ODSTs. And I don't know if this is just me, but whenever I play Halo, I always try and keep all the Marines alive. So I always make sure that all of the ODSTs at the start of this mission make it through the entire game, even when I'm playing on Legendary. So this is the Chief falling down from the Covenant Dreadnought ship, which is a Forerunner ship, and the ship that powered High Charity as it made its way to Earth. As we know, at the end of Halo 2, Chief snuck aboard, and then once the ship reached Earth, he just jumped out, which is so cool. And you can see that he's using the piece that he jumped out of, or the piece of the ship, as kind of a shield against the atmosphere that is burning it to pieces. Here is the picture of Master Chief and Cortana. Really cool picture. I really like this depiction of Cortana. She looks very human in this. Cortana in the games is a human-looking AI, but is made up of moving code, whereas in this, she just looks like a blue woman, which I think is so cool. And just, again, the height difference between her and the chief. And she is based on Dr. Catherine Halsey, who is a average height woman. So it just goes to show how massive the Master Chief actually is. So here it says, from the sounds awesome on paper, not so much in actual application file, comes the idea of unique armor permutations. Why? Because a unique armor permutation isn't unique if everyone has it. Complex color schemes had to go. A mix of permutation plans seemed immensely doable though. The Mark 5 armor, page 4, even made it into the mix, if only in helmet from above. So here are multiple different armor permutations that you can unlock, some of them in the multiplayer modes. Some of these armor permutations, while they did not make it into Halo 3, they did make it into future Halo games, such as Reach, Halo 4, and Halo 5. So, such as this chest piece here, this shoulder piece, and same with this chest piece here, along with this shoulder with a knife. These all look like concept arts that made it into Halo Reach. And if you know Bungie, they have a history of having scrapped ideas from one game only to implement it into the next game. So the armor that did make it into Halo 3 are these helmets. So these two here are the Scout helmet, and these two are the Rogue helmet. Here is the Mark 5 helmet, here is EOD, and here is a version of Security. This version of Security does not have such a bulbous visor as the in-game version in Halo 3 does, but it still looks really cool. Security armor is based on, is a reference to Bungie's previous game's Marathon. So, yeah, I just think that's so cool. I really like the Scout helmet. I'm always torn between wearing the Scout helmet or the Mark 6 helmet, but I usually go with Mark 6. Here are some more different versions of armor. So we have a version of the Scout armor. I'm not sure what this armor set is, however, I'm not sure what this helmet is. However, the chest and shoulders are the Scout chest and shoulders. So this is the Scout helmet. These are the Scout chest and shoulders. This helmet, again, kind of looks like ODST maybe, but not one that made it into the game. Here is the Recon set. If you have ever played Halo 3, you are very familiar with the Recon armor. This was the armor that you had to be gifted by a Bungie employee until they made the Vidmaster challenges to get it. Here is here is an armor set which it looks like a concept art of the EOD helmet. The shoulders here are the EOD shoulders. While this helmet did not make it into the game, this looks very similar to the Halo Reach version of EOD. Here is EVA, the full set of EVA armor. You get the EVA armor for completing the campaign on normal. And I should also just say that you get the EOD set by beating the game on legendary. This is CQB armor. So this is a very, very cool armor and is an armor set that has made its way into all future Halo games. This is one of the 2 default armors that you get right from the get-go. So you can choose between Mark 6 or CQB. Also, I should probably mention, when I'm talking about how to unlock all of these armor permutations and stuff, I am talking about in the original Halo 3. In the Master Chief Collection, you unlock them in different ways through almost like a battle pass system, but in the original Halo 3, you only were able to unlock these by either doing certain challenges, getting certain achievements, or completing the game on a certain difficulty. Here are some of the elite armor sets, which are really, really cool. So these two pictures here look like 3D renderings of two different elites. So the top elite is wearing the combat armor set. This is the standard default armor for your elite playable character. And then here is the Arbiter's armor. While this is not the full Arbiter's armor, this is at the very least his helmet and his boots, which is cool. I like this idea. It almost makes it look like maybe this could have been a previous Arbiter's armor. But yeah, so let us continue. This is the Arbiter as he appears in the campaign. Really cool armor. I personally prefer his armor in Halo 2, but his armor in Halo 3 is quite cool. So let us talk about these different sets here. So these two are concept art of the combat armor set. This looks a lot more jagged and sharp compared to the final version. This is the flight armor set. So this would be the armor worn by Banshee pilots and Seraph pilots. You unlock this armor by beating the campaign on heroic difficulty. This is the Commando armor set. Really cool armor. The helmet in particular, I really like. You get this armor set by getting the Overkill achievement, which is, or can be, quite a pain to get. You have to get a Overkill in Lone Wolves, if you are familiar with that game type. Over here, we have the Aesthetic armor set. You get this by unlocking the Step and Razor achievement, again in Lone Wolves, getting a triple kill with an energy sword. And then here we have the Assault armor. So the Assault armor is similar to the CQB set for the Spartans. This is your second default armor set that you unlock. That you have unlocked at the start of the game. This is also the armor set worn by the 4th player in the co-op campaign. So the first player plays as the Chief, the second player plays as the Arbiter, the third player plays as an elite in combat armor, and the 4th player plays as a red elite in assault armor. Now, I am completely drawing a blank, and I am so sorry. The campaign elite in the assault armor actually has a name and is a character featured in some of the books, and I believe he's actually mentioned in Halo 5 as well, but I cannot remember what his name is. I do apologize, as I tried to pride myself on my borderline obsessive knowledge on Halo. So here are some of the brutes of the Jerohane. These are so cool, some of their designs. This guy in particular looks absolutely incredible. So he has this helmet with this massive plume, almost like a Roman centurion, with these two wings with red fur. And he has a variant of the this looks like a mixture between the Mauler and the Spiker. It has the look of a pistol, like the Mauler, but the bayonet of the Spiker. So maybe this was a concept art of a weapon that maybe got cut and this weapon has like a dual edge. It almost looks like a raw pickaxe. Again, this armor and this weapon did not make it into the game, unfortunately. I absolutely love this armor so much. If you have played Elden Ring, this armor reminds me a lot of General Radahn's armor. Here we have multiple variations of the brute armor. So I'm just going to go through these fairly quickly. We have what looks like a bit of the standard brute armor, I believe the brute minor, but it has more of like a rhino horn. This brute here looks maybe more like a major or some kind of spec ops version of a brute, just based on the colors. Here we have a chieftain in blue armor. This is the hammer chieftain, not the war chieftain, as you can see by the hammer. The difference is that the chieftain has the gravity hammer, while the war chieftain has the fuel rod. Here we have another version that looks like the standard elite minor set, brute minor set. This looks like a jump pack brute, based on, it looks like he has a jetpack on his back. This is the camouflaged, and same with this guy. These are two of the camouflage brutes. These guys are invisible, they have maulers and incendiary grenades. And here we have another version of a type of chieftain. Looks really cool, looks much more like someone who would have been a named character. There is a brute in Halo Wars 1, a brute chieftain, that looks very similar to this brute. If you have played Halo 3, you know, and I agree with this, and this is a very common criticism, that the brute's armor is very lacking, that there's only two major differences in the brutes, that being the brute minor and the brute captain. There are slight variations, but you can barely tell what they are. And also, all of the brutes, except for one, are blue. There is also a gold captain, but he is quite rare. The reason this is not my favorite is one, while the elites in previous games up until this point all had the same armor, they had different colors, so you could easily tell, you know, oh, that's a minor, that's a major. You know, if it's blue, that's a minor. If it's red, that's a major. If it's gold, that's a zealot. If it's white, that's a general. So, whereas in Halo 3, they opted to just make all of the brutes blue, so it's kind of difficult to actually tell which ones you want to focus on. Because, you know, in Halo 2 or something, you would see 2 elite minors and an elite major because he is red, and you would want to target the major first because he is more dangerous, more aggressive, and deals more damage. Here's some more versions of some brutes again. So this guy has, again, that kind of revolver with a bayonet look while holding a spike grenade. I really like this armor, especially his undersuit. He doesn't look to have that much armor on. He only has one arm armored, as well as his shin guards. Here is a brute that is in this kind of tan armor. This looks like a very old-fashioned set. It almost reminds me of maybe brute armor from the time period of the Arbiters. It looks very similar to the Arbiters armor, both in color and just kind of how archaic it looks compared to the standard Covenant armor. This looks like a brute commando. So this, I'm assuming this guy would have been the equivalent of a white elite in previous games, or an elite ultra in Halo Reach. And here again we have a much more spec ops looking brute with a full face helmet complete with a visor. Looking at these pictures just makes me more sad. wishing that they had actually implemented these designs. Here is some of the flood. So we have one of these flood pure forms here. Some concept arts of different flood forms here. I believe this, I can't tell what species this used to be, but it looks like it was some kind of covenant based on his plasma rifle weapon. Over here we have some more. These look almost like animals that have been transformed by the flood, which does happen in canon, but does not. They do not appear in the games, and it just would have been cool to see some of these in the games. Here we have a type of quadruped. I believe this is a quadruped carrier form, which is so cool. I'm assuming it's a carrier form just based on the bulbous sacs that he has. And then over here we have some of the flood pure forms. So the flood pure forms have the stalkers, the snipers, and the tanks, and they're all able to transform into one another. So you could be fighting a stalker, and then he could jump up onto a building and then transform into a sniper and snipe you from there. So cool. I really love the flood. Also, I didn't mention, this flood form here actually is wielding a bunch of weapons with his tentacles, which is so cool. I really wish that this could have maybe made it into the full game, but unfortunately it didn't. So it is wielding an SMG, a plasma rifle, and a plasma pistol. That is so cool. This is actually my first time going through this book, so genuinely this is so cool to me. And then here we just have some versions of a flood tank form. So here are some more versions of the flood pure forms. Again, these three did not make it into the game. This flood here has almost looks like a prototype of the stalker, and same with these guys, but this guy has almost like spikes for arms. He looks very similar to a necromorph, especially the necromorph slasher enemy from the Dead Space games. Here is a massive picture of it looks like some kind of Forerunner structure or giant sentinel, but I believe it's a Forerunner structure. Okay, so next it says hold RB to enter, with a picture of a warthog with a marine driving and the chief on the turret, driving into a heavy combat zone. So we have a Covenant ship here. This looks almost like a Seraph, I believe. I know Seraphs are not in Halo 3, but it just looks like a Seraph. And someone is firing a Wraith shot. I actually think that's the Wraith there. So here we have a couple of different types of UNSC vehicles. I really like the human and UNSC ships in Halo. I think it's cool how they almost look like massive versions of weapons. You know, like this looks like a scope, and then here's the barrel, and then this could be a bipod. And also Halo, both for Covenant and the UNSC, have some of the best named ships in science fiction, in my opinion. Personally, I think the Covenant carrier, the Shadow of Intent, is the coolest named ship in all of science fiction, but that's just me. So this is a water-based vehicle. So this is a UNSC boat or ship. These do not make it into any Halo game. However, obviously the UNSC would have seaborne vehicles, and this is so cool. It also has this anti-aircraft. It looks like an anti-aircraft gun on the top of it. But yeah, this is so cool. I really wish that we got to see these in some of the games. Even if we didn't get to pilot them, just having them be included would have been amazing. So here is the Pelican. This is the main dropship that the UNSC uses. There's different types of pelicans, but I believe the Pelican and the Warthog are the only UNSC vehicles that appear in every mainline Halo game. I might be wrong. There might be an... Oh, sorry, and the Scorpion tank. So the Pelican, the Warthog, and the Scorpion are in essentially every single Halo game. But again, I love the Pelican. It's so cool. It's such a good, well-designed dropship, as well as a troop carrier, as well as a spacefaring vehicle. And yeah, so this vehicle here is called a Wombat. It says the F-99 Wombat is quite possibly the sweetest carrier-based unarmed combat air vehicle that you'll never see. Alright, it's not really called an F-99 Wombat, but it really would be crying shame if nobody ever got to see it. So this, like it says here, this is a scrapped idea for a vehicle, but this is an unmanned vehicle, so this would be a drone. So seeing as how it's unmanned, it makes sense that this did not make it into the game, as we would not be able to pilot it. But still, I think this is really, really cool. There's a flying vehicle that looks very similar to this in Halo Wars 2, and it looks again very similar to the Wasp from Halo Infinite. Not gonna spend too much time here, but this is some different types of these civilian vehicles in the Halo series. So lots of trucks, lots of buses. They all look very futuristic, while at the same time still being plausible. Like, you know, this could be what a cargo lorry looks like in the far, far future and stuff like that. And then down here we have a concept art of the Warthog. This is in the mission Crow's Nest. So this is one of the objectives we have to do, is clear this landing zone of brutes so that this Pelican can come down and escort a bunch of Marines and Sergeant Johnson out of the base, because at this point the base has fallen to the Covenant. So here are some Covenant vehicles. Let me just zoom out, sorry. So we'll start on the left. So this is a vehicle unique to Halo 3 only, and it is called the Prowler. It is the brute version of the Spectre from Halo 2, which essentially has the exact same design. So the way it works is you have your pilot or driver at the very back. At the front, you have a gunner with a plasma turret, and then you have 2 passenger seats on the side. So this vehicle can hold 4 passengers. Really good for playing 4-player co-op. What I think is really cool about the Prowler and the Spectre is its juxtaposition to the Warthog's design. So the way the Warthog works is you have the driver in the front and the gunner in the back, whereas the Spectre and the Prowler, you have the gunner in front and the driver in back. So it just kind of shows it's same kind of thing, but just in reverse. Both vehicles are not the best, but they are a very cool design. Next up, we have the Banshee up here with some close-ups of its cannons. Really like the Banshee. The Halo 3 Banshee is one of my favorite iterations. The Banshee, again, is one of the Covenant vehicles that has appeared in every Halo game. Every mainline Halo game. And then this is concept art up here of the Brute Chopper. So this looks much more like almost I don't know what the right term for this is, but it's a much thinner vehicle that does not look nearly as intimidating, whereas this is the chopper that we get in game. Sorry, this is the chopper that we get in game, and then here and here we have two concept versions of it. So this one looks a lot skinnier. It still has the main wheel at the front. It also has this really cool bayonet on the back. And then this one is very similar to the chopper that we get, but it has this overhead arch part of it. I'm not sure if this is meant to be another type of gun or turret for the vehicle, or this is maybe to protect the driver from being attacked overhead. The chopper is my favorite Covenant vehicle in all of Halo. It is so fun to use. Its guns are fun. Being able to ram warthogs and ghosts and seeing them just explode is so much fun, and it never gets old. I love the chopper to bits. Here we have the Covenant Scarab. So the Scarab is the strongest Covenant land vehicle that we see. So this picture is a version of a Scarab that looks almost like a mixture between the Halo 2 and Halo 3 Scarab, based on its gun at the front. And then down here we have multiple different versions of the Scarab concept art. So we have this one here, which has a very similar design to the main Scarab, except the anti-aircraft gun is not as big. This one looks more like a trimmed down version of the Scarab. It's a lot skinnier, it's a lot less armored. The main gun looks different. The anti-aircraft gun looks a lot different. It almost looks like it's been stripped of a lot of its parts. And then here we have another version of the Scarab, again, very similar to the Halo 3 version, but not exactly 100% accurate. And then here are multiple more versions of the Scarab. This one is the most accurate to the one that we get in Halo 3. And this Scarab here is a concept art. This one looks so cool. So we have the main gun at the top. We have two types of side turrets. I'm assuming this is to prevent boarders from coming in and jumping on it. And then its anti-aircraft gun actually looks more like a rail gun or a rail cannon. So this might maybe be an armored version of the Scarab, like the most elite version of it, but this did not make it into the game, sadly. Also, I don't know if you can see, let me just zoom in a little bit. So here we have a man, I'm assuming this is meant to be the chief, in comparison to the Scarab. So the chief is this tiny little dot here. I'm sorry if you can't see that. And then you have the Scarab here. So it just goes to show that even for the massive super soldier that the chief is, he is completely dwarfed by the Scarab. So here, this is so cool, and this is probably some of the first concept art I've seen of this. I'm not sure if you guys have, but these are flood-infected vehicles, or vehicles that have been consumed by the flood. So this looks like, I actually can't quite tell. This appears to be some kind of UNSC ship, just based on the colors, that has been taken over by the flood. And then over here, we have some Covenant carriers that have been taken over by the flood. As you can see, this one has all of these kind of tentacles hanging off the rear and coming out of the front. This one looks, you can see that the Covenant ship actually goes straight down here, but then we have these massive growths both on top and on the sides of it, connected by these membranes. And then here we have a Covenant carrier with a, I believe this is a Corvette that it is carrying, but it is being taken over by the flood, as you can see by the top of the ship being essentially a collection of flood biomass. We see some versions of, or one version, sorry, of a flood corrupted ship in Halo 3 at the end of the mission, The Storm. When at the end of the mission, after we destroy an AA cannon, a portal opens up and in comes flying a flood ship, a Covenant ship taken over by the flood, and it just crash lands into the heart of where we just fought through, which is in Africa. And it's a very famous scene because, you know, the Arbiter sees this and it's like, what is it, more brutes? And the Chief is like, no, worse. Which, fun fact, that is actually the only time the Chief talks to the Arbiter in all of Halo 3. He literally only says one word to him the entire game. A lot of people have this misconception that in Halo 3 the Arbiter and the Chief are like best friends, but no, literally, Chief only ever says one word to the Arbiter, whereas the Arbiter tries to talk to Chief a little bit, so it's understandable why the Chief wouldn't really want or be interested at this stage in having conversations with Sangheili, who until recently have been enemy number one. So next up is the weapon section. So here we have a picture of 3 Spartans. So this looks like the Chief here. Then we have, he has an assault rifle with a rocket launcher on his back and a magnum on his hip. We have a Spartan over here holding an assault rifle with some kind of heavy weapon on his back. I actually cannot tell what this weapon is. And then we have another Spartan here again with an assault rifle. Really cool. Again, there are no other Spartans featured in Halo 3, but it is cool nonetheless seeing them. Maybe this is supposed to be from the multiplayer, but I don't think so, just based on this being the Chief, or at least I believe that's the Chief. So, here is the Spartan laser. So the Spartan laser has since become an icon weapon in Halo. However, it was first introduced in Halo 3 and is an insanely powerful weapon. It shoots this massive laser, which is essentially a one-hit kill to anything it hits. The downside, though, is it has a large charge time and has a very limited ammo capacity, and you are not able to pick up ammo for it. Once you pick it up, you have to use it, and then that's it. Down here, we have the flamethrower. This version of the flamethrower, I believe, was introduced in Halo 3. In Halo Combat Evolved, the PC port at least, the flamethrower did make an appearance, and I believe that there is a flamethrower in some of the Halo CE multiplayer maps, but in terms of the campaign, this is the first time we see the flamethrower. Down here we have a picture, so we have a Warthog with a Marine on the gunner, with a Marine jumping out of the passenger seat holding a battle rifle. And then here we have a Marine talking to an ODST. So I just need to hold this a little bit closer. So this is some different types of the ammo that we find. So we have the Gauss cannon cartridge. We have the M41 light anti-aircraft gun. So I'm assuming this would be like the turret weapon. Then we have the ammo for the submachine gun, the ammo for the shotgun, so this would be the shotgun slug. Then the battle rifle, the BR-55 is the battle rifle variant that we see in Halo 3. The MA-5B rifle, so that is the assault rifle version featured in Halo 3. Here we have the M6 pistol bullet, and here we have the SR99 sniper rifle bullet. The reason I'm specifying what the actual numbers of the weapons are is for the most part, all of the different variants of the same guns throughout Halo, or the games and the books, they all have different variants. So, there's multiple different variants of the assault rifle and the battle rifle and stuff. Like, the battle rifle in Halo 3 is a different model to the battle rifle in Halo 4, and the assault rifle in Halo 3 is a different model to the assault rifle in Halo CE and Halo Reach. So it's just cool. Again, it's a very small detail, but I always appreciate in games when they show that, the military doesn't just have one single weapon, that they have multiple variations. It's almost like in our world how there's the weapon, the M4 assault rifle, but it has so many different variations that, each variation is almost like its own type of gun. And then this is the rocket launcher, or the spanker as it's called, that we see in most of the Halo games except for Halo 4. Oh, sorry, Halo 5, I apologize. So yeah, this is what the rocket launcher fires, and it's cool just to see all of these different things. If you are interested in the lore, the bullets that the assault rifle fires are called shredder rounds, and they are designed to cause as much damage to flesh as humanly possible. If you are interested in it, I would really suggest looking up some of the information on the different types of bullets, because despite the UNSC 500 years in the future still using bullets, the bullets they use are extraordinarily powerful and devastating. Here we have more weapons. So we have the missile pod. So the missile pod is a turret-based weapon that is introduced in Halo 3. It operates similar to the other turret weapons, where when it's on the turret, it has unlimited ammo, but once you detach the turret, it has limited ammo. The way the missile launcher works is it is a slow-moving rocket, which each missile does very little damage to an aircraft or a vehicle, but you are able to lock on to every vehicle with the missile pod, so it's very good, especially at taking out aircraft being used as anti-aircraft, and here are two more concept art versions of it. Here we have the assault rifle in different variations. So this looks like the assault rifle from Halo CE, and then this is the assault rifle that we get in Halo 3. This is a variation of the sniper rifle, of the shotgun, of the rocket launcher, and of the Magnum. Now, when I say variations, I just mean that these are concept art versions of the weapons. While they look very similar to the weapons in Halo 3, they are not the exact ones that we get. And then these two are different concept arts of the rocket launcher. These rocket launchers have a singular tube as opposed to the rotating tube of the spanker, which is one of Halo's most signature weapons. So as cool as these look, I am glad they kept the normal Halo rocket launcher in Halo 3. The rocket launcher in Halo 5 is something that I just pretend does not exist. Down here we have a version of the battle rifle. This version here looks almost like a mixture between the battle rifle that we see in Halo 3 and the DMR that we see in Halo Reach. This one looks to be much more of a ranged variant, especially with the longer barrel. Really, really cool. And then here we just have a Marine. I love seeing concept arts of all these different weapons. Here is some more of the Covenant tech and weapons. Here we have the Covenant Shade, which is a stationary turret. These fire heavy-duty plasma rifle bullets, or plasma rifle rounds, while very easy to destroy on normal and heroic. These things are no joke on legendary. So your best bet is to take out the pilot. Here is a picture of the plasma cannon. So this is the Covenant version of the turret. Here we have the AA gun that we see. So this is first featured in Halo 3. There's another version featured heavily in Halo Reach. But in this version, we fight one at the end of the mission, the Storm. And when I say that when I say fight, I mean we destroy its core. These are some concept arts of some of the brute weapons. Not sure what this was meant to be. Again, it looks like a revolver with a bayonet. I like this one here. It has almost like a cleaver as a bayonet, and it has like a spiked hand protector, which is really cool. So it is something too intimately tied to the brutes and their culture, as the weapons needed to result their soul distilled to its purest form, and that means unrestrained aggression and inherently dangerous designs. So the brute weapons and vehicles are so much more primitive than the rest of the Covenant weapons. They fire projectiles rather than plasma, and are a lot more barbaric and cruel in their designs. The brutes love bayonets and spikes and stuff like that. This is the Mauler. So this is the Covenant version of the shotgun. However, in the lore, this is actually a brute pistol. So this is like a brute revolver, for want of a better term. Really, really cool. This is a concept art of a weapon called the excavator, and eventually got replaced and renamed to the Mauler. But this looks really cool. This looks almost like a standard Covenant version of the Mauler, like something a Sangheili might use. But yeah, really, really cool. Here we have some more stuff about the brutes and the equipment. So here is a brute war chieftain. So we mentioned earlier that the brute chieftains have hammers. This is the war chieftain's gear. However, he does not have a fuel rod cannon in this. We have him with a brute shot concept art. Equipment was something that was introduced in Halo 3 and did not make an appearance after that. They are one-use equipment type things of all types of uses. So here we have the deployable cover, which pops up one of the standard Covenant shields that I'm sure you're very familiar with. This is the auto sentry. So this is a forerunner weapon that acts as a sentry turret. Not the best, but can be quite handy. Then we have the trip mine, which is very good, especially against vehicles. Then we have the radar jammer, which serves to jam the enemy's radar. Only really good in multiplayer, but good is a strong, strong overstatement. Then we have the power drain, which is probably one of the best equipments in the game. It completely drains enemies' shields and EMPs any vehicles caught in it. So this thing can be devastating if used correctly. And then this is the flare. So the flare is essentially just like a massive flashbang. It blinds the enemy. Again, only really good in multiplayer. Equipment as a whole is only really good in multiplayer. But by far the best version of any equipment and the most famous is the bubble shield. So the bubble shield puts a 360-degree shield around you that is invulnerable to all weapon fire. You were able to walk in and out of it, and you were able to drive through it, but inside the bubble shield you are completely safe. This is so handy and useful in both campaign and multiplayer, and this eventually got repurposed into the drop shield armor ability in Halo Reach. So next is some of the environments. So this is the final stage of the mission Sierra 117, which is the first mission in Halo 3. So this is where Johnson has been taken prisoner. This is the bridge where we fight our way through. This is a building where you can go up to the top. You're also able to sneak down into the sewer section. Very good area. This area is best on Legendary, as you have Jackal snipers, you have heavy duty brutes, and this is our first time in Halo 3 where we get to fight a brute chieftain. Up until this point, the only chieftain that we saw was Tartarus, but now we see that the chieftains are more of a rank. They are the leaders of the brute packs. So here are some more pictures of Sierra 117. This is a very jungle area, so this is somewhere in Africa. This is where Chief first falls down and is rescued by Johnson. Here is the map. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this, but here's the map of the entire level, which is really, really cool. I believe that this is the start of the mission, and then over here is near the end, but really, really cool. Some more pictures of Sierra 117, just showcasing the dense jungle that has been overrun by brutes, and they are hunting Marines. This is a log where we see a brute captain interrogating a Marine, and when the Marine refuses to give the location of his teammates, the brute beats him to death right in front of us. It is possible to save him, but yeah, the brutes are barbaric, to say the least. Next up, I believe this is Crow's Nest. So this looks like the hangar where we first enter the base. The Crow's Nest is essentially humanity's last headquarters or command station. And again, this is all based in Africa because the Covenant are focusing their attack on Africa, because there is something buried in Africa that the Covenant want. And spoiler alert, that something that they want is the portal to the Ark. So this again is the picture that we see on the front of the book of of the Chief in the back with a Marine driving the Warthog. Here is the third mission to Savo Highway. So we see wreckage from multiple different destroyed Covenant structures. This is after Crow's Nest has been destroyed and evacuated. We set off a nuclear bomb in it to kill all the Covenant, and we made it out by the skin of our teeth, but we made it out with so few Marines, and most of which are severely injured, so we have to make our way through. This is one of my favorite levels in the game. It's our first vehicle level in Halo 3. Here is an art piece of I believe this is of the first open area in the mission, The Storm, which is the 5th mission. I could be wrong about that. The lighting is kind of making me question it, because the lighting makes it look like it's almost sunset or twilight. However, the mission takes place in bright daylight. Here's some more concept art of that mission, as well as some various other missions. I'm not spending too much time on the different environments, unless I have something really interesting to say about the lore or anything, or its role in the game. As we get into some of the later missions, I will definitely be talking about it more. So here again is the mission, the Storm. So the objective of this mission is to make our way through and eliminate the anti-aircraft gun that is causing havoc for all UNSC forces. So we make our way through, we fight our way through industrial zones, abandoned factories. There's an area that we fight our way through that has a factory that is full of workers, civilian workers I mean, and the brutes are doing their best to interrogate them. And then at the very end, once we kill all the brutes and open the final door, 2 hunters barge in. And this is our first encounters with hunters in the game. This all takes place in Voi. Voi is in Africa. I am not sure if Voi is a real location in Africa or just somewhere that is fictionalized for Halo. But yeah, very, very cool. Here we have a bunch of different concept arts. So this is what looks to be the end of the mission, the Storm. We see different pictures here, some Marines, this guy has a shotgun, and then this is the start of the mission Floodgate. So this looks like things have been set on fire after the ship crashed. Here is kind of like a storyboard panel of the scene I was talking about earlier, where the Covenant ship, corrupted by the flood, makes its way into Earth. So we see the chief here with a sniper. We see him scoping in on the ship, seeing that it is in fact a flood ship, and then it flying overhead, passing over him and the Arbiter, and crash landing into the ground. So this is a mission that, this is our first flood mission. And some people don't like this mission because you essentially backtrack all the way to the very start of the mission, the Storm. It's the same mission, but you're just going backwards now that it's being corrupted by the flood. This mission takes place at night, and the flood spores are all over the place, giving the nighttime a kind of brown haze from all the spores. This is a really cool picture of the Marines holding off some flood. So we have a warthog here with a gunner, 2 Marines here. This picture is very dark, so I do apologize. One here, one here. They have weapons that I'm not actually sure what they are. This looks like a variation of a battle rifle, maybe. But then this one looks like a battle rifle that doesn't have a scope, so it actually looks a lot like an M16, which I think is cool. But yeah, you can see the buildings are on fire because of a crash landing, and you can see some flood approaching in the distance. I cannot imagine how scary it must be to be a Marine, having to fight the flood, the absolute terror of it. And this mission is one of the scenes that actually really traumatized me as a kid, where we see the flood infect a live Marine. That is one of the aspects that we see in Halo 3, is that the flood are able to infect and reanimate both corpses and Marines, not Marines, living allies and enemies as well, if their shields are down. If the shields are down or gone and a infection form runs at them, they get taken over by the flood, and it is extremely graphic. The person or enemy is crying out in agony and terror as this parasite burrows into them. So here we have a couple of things going on. So we have a Marine here with a battle rifle. We have this Marine who is being strangled by a flood. I cannot tell if this, I believe this might actually be a flood elite, just based on how tall it is. But it has one of its tentacles around its this Marine's throat. His helmet and battle rifle have gone flying. We have this, I think this is actually the chief, firing a turret at some flood, looking on as another, I can't tell if this is a combat or carrier form, making their way towards the, towards the Marines. So I just want to check before we continue, because I have, okay. So this mission ends with us going into the bit of the ship that the flood crash landed on, and retrieving a fragment of Cortana, which was a mission. And because of the floods, because of the flood outbreak starting, once we get out of the zone due to a friendly phantom picking us up, the shipmaster Artas Vadam, the shipmaster of the Carrier of Intent, and his subordinates start glassing half of Africa, and this causes major contention between Artas and Lord Hood, because Lord Hood is mad that Artas just glassed half a continent, when Artas is saying like, hey, I essentially just saved your entire planet, that if this had not been contained, your world would have been lost. You know, the famous line is, one single flood spore can destroy a species. So here we have some more pictures of some concept arts. This looks like one of the final areas in the game. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it is. Actually, it is exactly what it is. So this is the final mission of the game, where we go to the Ark and use the half-constructed Halo ring to blow it up. So this is a picture of what we can see of just the scale of the Ark. The Ark is essentially the manufacturing station for the Halo rings, as well as also having the ability to activate all of the Halo rings at once. So destroying this is pivotal. And at this point in the game, the Covenant are gone. We have breached the walls in the mission, the Covenant, and we have killed the Prophet of Truth. However, we have lost Commander Miranda Keys in the process. Here we have a Warthog driving towards a Forerunner structure. Here is some art of the mission, the Covenant, that I was just talking about. So this is some of the starting areas of the game. This area is so cool. This mission is so cool. It's probably my favorite mission in any Halo game, even more than the Silent Cartographer. So we make our way from base to base. The objective is the Chief takes on Tower 1, the Arbiter and the Elites take on Tower 2, and Johnson and his Marines take on Tower 3. So we make our way up, we take down the shield of our tower, then the Elites take down their shield, but Johnson gets captured, so we have to make our way and go and take down his shield. The reason we need to take down the shields is because the shields are blocking where the Prophet of Truth has gone to activate the ring, so we need to deactivate this and then rush, I mean really rush, to get to the Prophet of Truth before he can activate it. This is inside of the final area of the mission where we find Truth. This is a very pivotal moment story-wise. This is where we team up with the Flood So the Arbiter and Chief are about to start progressing forward before they are ambushed by two Flood tank forms, and the Chief and the Arbiter are about to kill them, but the Flood, being used as a mouthpiece for the Gravemind, essentially says, hey, you know, if he activates the rings, you die and we die. So for now, we need to work together. So this is the part where, at least for about 10 minutes, the Flood are our ally, which is really, really cool. Here we have some pictures of the end of the game. This is one of the planets that we see in the final mission of Halo. Sorry, of Halo 3. Here we have some storyboard pictures of the mission, the Covenant. So we'll start in chronological order. So we have the Arbiter with his sword drawn, with his hand around the throat of the Prophet of Truth. This is the Chief running to try and get to where the Prophet is located. However, before all this happens, Miranda Keys crashes a Pelican through the back window. As I said, Johnson had been captured and had been brought to this point because the Covenant need a reclaimer or a human to actually activate it. If they try and do it, they can't do it, so they need a reclaimer. Johnson is essentially trying to goad this brute chieftain into killing him, and it almost works until Truth stops it. But Miranda crashes her way in, kills a couple brutes, and essentially Johnson says, hey, we need to both die. So he says, shoot me and then shoot yourself. But before that can happen, Miranda is killed by the Prophet of Truth using a spiker. Here we have some pictures of the Arbiter. This is him with the Prophet of Truth. And then this is him with the, again with the Prophet of Truth. But what happens is, as the Flood infection is going around, the Flood start to infect the Prophet of Truth. And the Arbiter does not like this at all, as he says that he wants his revenge on a prophet, not a plague, which is such a badass line. This is after we have killed Truth, and as could be expected, the Flood instantly turn on us. The Chief and Arbiter try to make a getaway in the Pelican that crashed through, but the Gravemind tentacles pop up and knock them both down. So the two of them go back to back in one of the most iconic pictures of Halo 3. And the two of them have to fight their way back the way they came, back to back, fighting off all of the Flood. Keep in mind that to get to this location, the Chief and the Arbiter had to fight their way through a small army of Covenant. So all of those Covenant are now being transformed into Flood, which is terrifying. This is the next mission, which is a fan favorite, as everyone who has played this game knows. I jest, of course. This is the mission Cortana, and this is the mission where we go into High Charity to rescue Cortana. So, like I said, this is concept art and art of the mission Cortana. Sorry, I have a bit of the hiccups right now. So this is concept art here of the Chief, what looks like to be encountering a Gravemind. I am so sorry I have the hiccups all of a sudden. I will try to edit those out in post, but yeah, I just gotta kind of tough it on through for now. So this is after we have rescued Cortana, and our goal is to destroy the generators. So this is the chief after we rescued Cortana, about to destroy the 3 reactors of High Charity, which will cause a chain reaction resulting in High Charity's end. It is basically causes it to explode, and we do this by shooting and destroying 3 generators which become accessible to us, and then we shoot them. But after this we then have to sprint our way back to one of the earlier areas of High Charity. So this is the final mission of Halo 3. So this is us on the Ark after the Arbiter helped us escape High Charity. So we crash land here, and we have to make our way through the control tower. This environment is covered in snow, which is really cool. It just goes to different weather that we see in the games. So at this point at the start, we believe the flood is destroyed and no more. However, once we enter the main combat arena, we find that the Gravemind says, like, hey, you thought I was defeated. That is not the case. And he starts sending flood drop pods to us. Flood drop pods are not normal drop pods. They're essentially just bio mass that have a flood form inside them. We fight our way to the very top, where we meet Sergeant Johnson, who has been covering us up until here. So this is after we enter the control room, after we fend off waves and waves of flood. And after we defeat all the waves, Sergeant Johnson joins us. So the Chief, the Arbiter, and Johnson make our way to the control room. We have the Arbiter here and the Chief here. This is just showing the destruction of the Halo ring itself. This is a really cool picture showing the Halo ring kind of above the Ark. This is also where Sergeant Johnson dies due to 343 Guilty Spark, refusing to relinquish his control over what he considers to be his ring. This is some art of our escape from the facility. So we fight our way up through the side of a cliff and into a Forerunner facility, and we make our way out, and Johnson's Warthog is still there. So we get in the Warthog, and we have probably the best section or sequence in all of the Halo games, the Halo 3 Warthog run. It is such a good encounter, such a good driving section, and it's even better if you're playing with friends. It is so tense, especially on a lasso, where, you know, if you if you're unfamiliar with the route that you have to take, and you fall through the floor, you get sent back, potentially hours. I have done this mission so many times, I could drive this section in my sleep. So here we have some storyboard art of the final cutscene. So, once the Chief and the Arbiter drive to safety and jump into the hangar of the frigate that is waiting, Arbiter rushes to the forward part of the ship, while Chief is stuck after being almost knocked out of the ship by a flying Scorpion tank. And due to the portal closing, the front piece of the ship containing the Arbiter makes it through the portal and back to Earth, whereas the Chief does not. So at this point, everyone presumes the Chief is dead. So this here is a picture of the memorial set in a barren hillside in Voy. We have Lord Hood here, and we have the Arbiter here. This is the Arbiter's piece of the frigate falling to earth, and it's a really good scene. It's a Lord Hood says that in a memorial that this hillside will remain barren, that they will not rebuild anything here. And there's a really good scene between the chief, sorry, not the chief, Lord Hood and the Arbiter, where the Arbiter and Lord Hood get into a conversation, and Lord Hood says, you know, he remembers how this war started between your people and mine, and what you're after doing to my people, that I cannot possibly forgive you. However, you have my thanks. So it's kind of the first step towards the Sangheili and the human alliance, or at least the Sangheili loyal to the Arbiter. Not all Sangheili are super pleased about having to join forces with humans. Doesn't show it, but what happens is the second, or the latter half of the frigate that the chief was lost in, and is essentially just floating in space at the end of the game, we get a cutscene where we see that the chief is in fact alive, and Cortana explains what happens to him and says that, you know, it could be years before we're found. So Chief gets into a cryopod, goes to sleep, and tells Cortana, you know, wake me if you need me, which is where Halo 4 begins. But it's actually kind of sad for Cortana, because while Chief, even though he needs to be in a cryopod, Cortana is just left on her own to deal with the isolation for so many years. So next up we have some concept art and art of some of the Halo 3 multiplayer maps. I really like the Halo 3 multiplayer maps. Halo has always had incredible multiplayer maps, but Halo 3, in my opinion, is probably my favorite, if not tied with Reach, but I actually think I like Halo 3 a bit more. So let's start off with the different levels. So here we have the level Standoff. Standoff is a very one-sided map where the one team spawns on the bottom of a hill, and the other team spawns inside a fortification that has a few different ways for people to sneak in. This map is one of my favorites. It is not the best map for games like Slayer, but for games like Assault or Capture the Flag, it is so fun. You know, the main entrance to the map, to the fort is closed, but you are able to actually open it. So it's very important to sneak your way into the base, not necessarily kill anyone, but hit the switch to open the gate to allow people to come on in. This here looks like I actually don't know what this this level is called. I believe this is Last Resort. The wheel isn't here, but it looks very similar. This might be the wheel here. This beach area is one of the spawn points for one of the teams for Last Resort. Last Resort is the remake of the map Zanzibar from Halo 2. Over here we have a couple of different maps. Most notably among these maps is the map Valhalla. So Valhalla is Halo 3's equivalent of Blood Gulch, and I think this is one of my two favorite maps in all of Halo, period. It is such a good map. It's a beautiful area. it works with all game types, from Slayer to Assault to Big Team Battle to Capture the Flag and everything, and they are all so much fun. This map is a fan favorite. This is one of those maps where in the original Halo 3 where you were able to veto maps. Anytime Valhalla came on, people were like, yeah, we're just gonna play this. Doesn't matter about anything else. So I love Valhalla to bits. This is a map. We have multiple different pictures here. I'm not going to go into what all of these are, but this is a map called Snowbound, which is probably the least favorite map in terms of the community, and personally my least favorite map. It is a very simple design. It's a snowy location with 2 Covenant bases on either side, which both lead into an underground section where you can fight, and there's like shotguns and stuff. So close weapons are very good, but there's also sniper rifles for being on top of the map. Again, this map works with all game types, but what's interesting about Snowbound is it has these turrets where if you go outside of the bounds of the map, you won't instantly die, but these turrets will essentially kill you in one hit. Really, really cool. I'm not the biggest fan of Snowbound, but it is really, really cool. Here is the second favorite map of mine, and that is Guardian. So Guardian is a map that is an absolute fan favorite, and if not for Valhalla, it would be my favorite map. But in some ways, I actually do prefer Guardian over Valhalla. So this map is good for game types like Assault and Slayer. It's not the best Capture the Flag map, but it's really, really cool. You have loads of grav lifts, loads of really good weapons like swords, shotguns, hammers, sniper rifles, and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely really, really cool. So here is a map called Narrows. So this map consists of a singular bridge between both bases, as well as an underground passageway you can take. And also the key feature in this is each side has a grav lift which sends you over to the enemy base. It's always cool when you and an enemy both get in the grav lift at the same time and you just smash into each other and you both fall to your death. Really cool map. Interesting weapons like shotguns and sniper rifles. Not sure what really else to say about this map, but it is an absolute banger of a map. I'm not sure if this map has been remade, like properly remade it. I don't mean in Forge, but I hope it has been, because it is such a good map. Let me know in the comments, and I don't like asking, you know, like, I'll leave a comment or anything, just because I don't want to appear like I'm, you know, asking for views or likes or anything. But I am interested to know, what is your favorite Halo 3 multiplayer map, and why? So before we move on, since this is the last of the multiplayer map section, I do just want to say that Halo 3's DLC maps are some of the best DLC maps or map packs for any first-person shooter, especially in this era of games. I know Call of Duty had a lot of map packs as well, but Halo 3's are some of my favorites. They are all incredible maps that fit in perfectly with Halo, and Halo Reach as well has some incredible DLC maps. So next up we have this picture of the Master Chief. This is the picture that is shown on the cover of Halo 3. I have the collector's edition, so we know the legendary version of Halo 3. So my box that the game came in has this same picture, but in black and white. I'll try and post a picture. I'll see if I can find a picture, and I'll put it somewhere here-ish, since my copy of it is at the very bottom of my game pile. Sorry, my game stack, and it'll just be a pain to have to dig it through. So yeah. So here is just a bunch of different concept arts and stuff. I'm not going to spend too much time in this. This is the workings of the Halo 3 Believe trailer. So the Halo 3 Believe trailer is a trailer composed completely of a diorama showing Covenant and UNSC forces fighting. The trailer is only around 2 minutes long, and I cannot recommend that you guys watch this enough. It is an absolutely incredible trailer for for both just Halo 3 and any game, period. It is so good. Here we have the cover picture of the Halo, The Art of Building Worlds book. Hopefully, if I stick to my schedule, that book video will come out before this one, but it just shows the Master Chief in this very unique art style holding 2 SMGs. And here we have some of the different different memorabilia of Halo. So we have some t-shirts. We have some of, I believe this is some kind of music for the game. We have the, I believe this is the box that the console came in. And then here is the Halo 3 Xbox 360 console. I actually have this console. I have all of the Halo consoles. And I adore this to absolute bits. I love it so much. Here we have 2 pictures, so I believe these are both from the multiplayer. This is of the Master Chief holding something. I can't tell what this is. That actually might be the bomb for the assault game type, but I cannot tell. And then here we have a Spartan. It is the Master Chief holding the red team flag. So this is obviously in a game of Capture the Flag. However, the Master Chief is not playable in multiplayer. It does suck, unfortunately. You are unable to select the Master Chief's tone of green for your Spartan in Halo 3, which is kind of strange that they left that out, but you can have him like standard green, dark green, and light green, but you can't have him in this almost like sage color armor. Here is some art of some different things, so let me zoom out a bit so you guys can see. So we have a 3D model of a brute. I believe this might be a statue. We have a Spiker replica. We have a statue of Master Chief. I actually own this statue, so I will put a picture of it somewhere on screen now. We have this statue of the Master Chief. We have a Spiker replica, a Plasma Pistol replica, which I used to own, a Cortana replica, and then here we have some more pictures of Halo statues and collectibles. So here we have a couple of the cover arts for some of the Halo books. So this is the cover for the Halo book Ghosts of Onyx, which is a really good read. I would recommend it. And then this is the cover art of Halo Contact Harvest. So this is the book explaining the first contact with the Covenant. And this is Sergeant Johnson here before everything happened. This is when he was still fighting the insurrectionists. Here we just have some musical notes for the game. I do not I do not read music, so I do apologize. We have the chief here, standing with a Covenant carrier above him and a phantom. Here we have the chief driving and shooting a chopper. So this is the chief with 2 ODSTs. This is Chief and Cortana on his shoulder. This is Chief after just being dropped off by a pelican. Firing, I believe this is a turret. Then here is again the box art for Halo 3 of Master Chief with the destroyed Halo ring in the background. It doesn't show it here, but in the cover art for the game, you can actually see Cortana's eyes above the Chief. Here is a picture of the Chief and the Arbiter. This was a little poster that came with certain editions of Halo 3. I was lucky enough to get or have one included in the copy that I bought, and I had it framed because I love this image so much. This is a picture of, the full picture of a picture we actually already covered. So this is at the start of the mission, the Ark, with the Chief jumping out of the Pelican with a turret with 1, 2, 3, 4 ODSTs. The only difference is in the mission he does not have a turret. Here is Chief and Cortana. Here is some more really cool art. So we have the Master Chief holding his assault rifle. The Master Chief, some Spartan firing an assault rifle with another Spartan in the back charging a Spartan laser. This is a Spartan holding a flag. This is another variation of the picture that we just saw of the Chief and the Arbiter. Here we have the Chief with his assault rifle. Here is the Chief looking at Cortana. You can see Cortana in his visor and the blue light around him. Then here are some more pictures. So I don't know the context for all of these. So we have the Chief with Cortana in the back. We have the Chief standing next to some kind of half-destroyed arch. Here is a Spartan with someone firing a Spartan laser near his location. This is the Chief. This actually looks like during the mission The Storm. Things were on fire and everything. This is from the multiplayer. So this is a Spartan with a sniper on his back holding the oddball, and another Spartan here jumping off. So both of these guys are trying to escape the explosion. Next, we have this really cool picture of the Chief with a rocket launcher. This is a very famous picture or artwork for Halo 3. And then next up, we just kind of have these 2 little funny images. So we have the Chief giving the boot to a flood carrier form. And then this is Chief, a Spartan holding the flag. However, this looks to be more of a medic type flag. And that, everyone, is the end of the book. And on the background again, we have, on the back of the book, we have another variation of Chief with the turret and an ODST. So, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your viewership. Before we go any further, I just want to give a quick shout out to my 2 Patreon members. So thank you Slice of Life for Life, and thank you Mary the Otaku. But as always, your viewership means the absolute world to me. After I'm done this, I'm going to start recording the Art of Halo 4 book. But that is it for this video. If you are listening or watching to this while trying to relax or go to sleep, this is the end of the video, so I would click off now so that an ad does not wake you up and or disturb you. So again, thank you so much for watching. My name has been Crimson, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, and have a good evening.